One day, an old friend reappears, someone you haven't heard from in years. No updates, no signs of what they were doing. And then suddenly, they're everywhere. A luxury home, an expensive car, a thriving company. Their life looks completely different. You scroll through their profile, stunned by their transformation. When did this happen? How did they do it? Then you remember, while others were talking, they were working. While the world was distracted, they were building. They didn't seek approval. They didn't need validation. They embraced discipline, mastered patience, and now their results speak louder than any words ever could. This is the power of working in silence, a principle the Stoics understood centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius didn't rule for applause. He ruled with quiet discipline, focusing only on what he could control. No explanations, no justifications, only action. And now, you stand at the same crossroads. You can chase recognition, or you can disappear into the work and return with results no one can ignore. In 2025, will you be the one watching, or the one they wonder about? Are you ready? Step 1. Shift your mindset. No one cares how hard you work. No one sees the sleepless nights, the early mornings, or the sacrifices you make behind closed doors. The world only sees the results. That might sound harsh, but it's the truth, and the sooner you accept it, the faster you'll rise above those still trapped in the illusion that effort alone is enough. Imagine two athletes training for the same marathon. One constantly talks about their dedication, posting every workout, every struggle, every small milestone. The other works in silence, pushing themselves daily without the need for applause. On race day, only one thing matters: who crosses the finish line first. And in that moment, it doesn't matter how many people believed in them, how many likes they got, or how much they talked about their grind. The only thing that counts is performance. Success is measured by what you produce, not by how much effort you claim to have put in. While most people waste energy trying to prove their worth, the truly successful understand that validation is a distraction. The greatest minds in history, leaders, philosophers, innovators, did not spend their time explaining themselves. They spent it mastering their craft, refining their skills, and executing their vision. If you are constantly looking for recognition, you are giving away your power. Every time you post your progress just to hear validation from others, you are conditioning yourself to depend on external approval. This is dangerous. It makes your motivation fragile. Because what happens when the likes stop coming? When no one acknowledges your hard work? Do you stop trying? Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoic thinkers, wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Meditations, Book 10. What does this mean in the context of success? It means your ability to thrive depends not on what others think of you, but on how you control your own mindset. Instead of craving recognition, focus on internal mastery. Your thoughts, your discipline, your execution. Greatness is quiet. The most powerful individuals don't need to announce their ambition. They don't need to prove anything. They let their results do the talking. The moment you stop trying to convince people of your worth and start becoming valuable in silence, you gain a strength that few ever will. Social media has conditioned people to seek constant approval. You see it everywhere. People flexing their success, exaggerating their struggles, desperately trying to prove how hard they're working. But here's the truth. Real success doesn't beg for attention. It demands it. Think about Elon Musk. He wasn't posting motivational quotes while working 100-hour weeks to build Tesla and SpaceX. He was buried in execution, perfecting his craft while the world doubted him. The same can be said for Michael Jordan, who didn't announce his 5 a.m. training sessions. He just showed up day after day until his performance became legendary. The people who achieve the most often say the least. Why? Because they are too busy doing the work. Talking about success feels good, but it doesn't create results. If you truly want to change your life, you need to break free from this cycle. You need to accept that no one is waiting to applaud your progress. No one is tracking your every move, hoping you'll succeed. And that's exactly why you will win, because you understand that the work itself is the reward. There is a reason why the world's most disciplined and successful people operate in quiet focus. They understand a fundamental truth. Energy is limited. Every ounce of energy spent explaining, proving, or seeking validation is energy that could have gone into refining your skills, improving your execution, and moving one step closer to undeniable success. This is why the Stoics mastered the art of detachment. They knew that emotions, especially the need for recognition, cloud judgment and weaken discipline. They focused only on what was within their control. When you stop chasing validation, something incredible happens. You become immune to doubt, criticism, and distraction. You no longer need external motivation because your drive comes from within. This is the mindset that separates those who achieve from those who talk about achieving. Your challenge: 30 days without seeking recognition. If you're serious about shifting your mindset, take on this challenge. For the next 30 days, do not share or seek validation for any accomplishment. No social media posts about your progress. No humble bragging. No fishing for compliments. Just work in silence. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. You might feel the urge to announce your effort, to get reassurance that you're on the right path. But resist it. Redirect that energy into the work itself. Observe how it changes your focus. Feel the difference when you no longer depend on approval. Because one day, when the results are undeniable, you won't need to say a word. The world will take notice. The only question is, are you ready to embrace the silence? Step 2. Mastering your emotions. The battlefield was drenched in rain. The sky was dark. The wind howled through the broken trees, and the weight of an empire rested on one man's shoulders. A young general sat by the dim glow of a lantern, staring at his maps. His army was exhausted, his supplies dwindling, and his enemies surrounded him on all sides. But he did not complain. He did not curse the heavens for the storm, nor did he rage against fate for placing him in this impossible position. He simply studied the battlefield, his mind as sharp as the blade at his side. His name was Tokugawa Ieyasu, and in that moment of silence, he was shaping history. A soldier rushed into the tent, drenched and breathless. "Lord Ieyasu, the men are uneasy. Some say this war is cursed. Others believe we should retreat." The general did not look up. Instead, he slowly rolled up his maps, stood, and placed a hand on the soldier's shoulder. "If they waste their breath complaining, they are not warriors. If they wish to retreat, they have already lost." He paused, his gaze steady. "A storm is nothing. A man who cannot control himself in the face of a storm is nothing. Tell them this: the battle is already won, not by the sword, but by the mind." Years later, Tokugawa Ieyasu would emerge victorious, uniting Japan and establishing a dynasty that would last for over 2 centuries. He endured betrayals, endless wars, and immense personal losses. But he never complained. He never allowed anger to cloud his judgment. He understood a lesson that most people never learn. Anger and complaints are luxuries of those who lack discipline. You have 2 choices in life. You can react emotionally to everything, allow frustration to control you, and blame the world for your struggles. Or you can take complete control of yourself, your mind, and your emotions, and move forward regardless of the obstacles. There is a reason why the greatest minds in history did not waste time with anger or excuses. They understood that complaining changes nothing, while discipline changes everything. It is tempting to believe that external forces are the reason for your hardships, that life is unfair, that you deserve better. But the truth is this: no one is coming to fix your life for you. No amount of complaining will change your circumstances. Only action will. Somewhere right now, someone is stuck in the same situation as you. Same obstacles, same hardships, maybe even worse. But instead of complaining, they are taking silent, relentless action. They are studying, training, refining their craft. They are preparing while the rest of the world wastes energy on frustration. And one day, when they emerge victorious, the world will call them lucky. A man once asked Tokugawa Ieyasu, "How did you survive so many wars? How did you never lose your composure, never give up?" He smiled, and his reply was simple. The strong do not fight battles with their emotions. They fight them with patience. Most people live as slaves to their emotions. The smallest inconvenience makes them lash out. The tiniest hardship makes them complain. But every moment spent in frustration is a moment stolen from progress. And that is why those who master themselves always rise above those who let their emotions rule them. If you think about your own life, how many times have you let frustration cloud your mind? How many hours, days, even years have been lost because of pointless complaints? If you are serious about mastering yourself, then take on this challenge. For the next 7 days, do not complain about anything. Not your job, not your struggles, not the unfairness of life. The next time something goes wrong, do not waste a second in frustration. Pause, breathe, and remind yourself that the real battle is not with the world, it is within you. Because when the dust settles, the ones who win are not the ones who scream the loudest, nor the ones who blame the hardest. They are the ones who endure, who adapt, who take action when others make excuses. And one day, when you look back, you will not remember the times you wanted to complain. You will only remember that you had a choice to let emotions control you or to remain unshaken. So now the question is, can you stay silent when the world would rather you scream? Can you control yourself when others lose their minds? Can you master the one battle that truly matters? Because if you can, then there is no storm, no hardship, and no enemy that can ever defeat you. Step 3. Stop procrastinating and stay committed to your goal. The candle flickered as the man stared at the blank parchment before him. The ink was ready, the quill in his hand, yet he hesitated. The weight of his thoughts pressed against him. What if I fail? What if I am not ready? Time passed, but he did not write. His name was Leonardo da Vinci, and in that moment he was trapped, not by a lack of skill, but by his own hesitation. Now imagine if da Vinci had spent his life waiting for the perfect moment. If he had doubted his brushstrokes so much that he never lifted his hand to paint. If he had postponed his ideas indefinitely, waiting until he felt ready. The world would never have known the Mona Lisa, the Last Supper, or his groundbreaking scientific discoveries. But da Vinci, like all great minds, eventually understood the truth. Perfection is a lie, and hesitation is the death of progress. How many times have you delayed your own dreams, convincing yourself you weren't ready? How many days, months, or even years have slipped away because of fear? Fear of failure, fear of imperfection, fear that you are not good enough. The greatest deception is the belief that there is still time, that waiting will somehow prepare you. But the only thing that prepares you for the work is doing the work. Most people spend their lives postponing action, thinking they need more time to prepare. But time is not the issue. The issue is fear. The fear that your first attempt won't be perfect. The fear that others will judge you. The fear that you will fall short of your own expectations. But here's the reality. Every master was once a beginner. Every champion was once unsure. Every success story started with someone who was not ready, but started anyway. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Aim at your goal. Do not let what is outside of your control disturb you." The Stoics knew that waiting for the right moment was foolish because the right moment does not exist. If you allow circumstances to dictate your actions, you will always find an excuse. But if you set your sights on your goal and refuse to waver, nothing can stop you. History does not remember those who hesitated. It remembers those who took action. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before perfecting the light bulb. But he did not wait until he was sure it would work. He tested, he failed, he adapted, and he persisted. If he had waited until he felt ready, the world might still be in darkness. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not intelligence. It is not luck. It is not talent. It is the ability to act even when they don't feel ready. The ones who rise above are not those who wait for perfect conditions, but those who create opportunities out of imperfect ones. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a vast ocean. You dream of reaching the other side, but the waters are unknown, and you are afraid to set sail. So you tell yourself, "I will wait until the waves calm, until the wind is perfect, until I have the finest ship." But the ocean is never still, the conditions are never perfect, and those who hesitate never leave the shore. If you want to be different, if you want to achieve what others only dream of, you must do one thing that most people never do. You must commit. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, write down your goal, the one thing you have been putting off, the dream that you have told yourself you will pursue someday. The project, the idea, the skill, the journey that you know deep inside you were meant to pursue. And once you write it down, make a decision. No more delays, no more waiting, no more excuses. For the next 7 days, commit to your goal and take action every single day. Even if it's small, even if it's imperfect, even if it's just a single step forward. Refuse to let fear hold you back. Refuse to be the person who talks about their dreams but never moves toward them. Most people let life push them around. They let distractions, fear, and uncertainty dictate their path. But you are not most people. You know that the goal is what matters, not the obstacles in between. So now the question remains, will you continue to wait or will you act? Because in the end, the only thing standing between you and your goal is the decision to start. Step 4. Stop depending on others' opinions. The applause fades. The crowd disperses. The compliments that once fueled you disappear into silence, and then you are left alone, facing your work, your goals, your doubts. What happens then? Do you continue, or do you wait for someone to reassure you, to validate your efforts? If your success depends on the approval of others, you are not truly in control. The world is filled with people who gave up on their dreams, not because they weren't capable, but because they listened to the wrong voices. They let others decide what was possible. They let criticism shape their future. They waited for permission to do what they already knew they wanted. And that is why so few achieve greatness, because greatness requires you to silence the noise and move forward anyway. Elon Musk did not wait for permission. When SpaceX failed 3 times, the world laughed. Experts declared that private space travel was impossible, but Musk did not argue. He did not try to convince them. He simply kept working. And on the 4th attempt, SpaceX succeeded. Today, those same critics call him a genius. The lesson: people will doubt you until they can't anymore. Your only job is to keep proving them wrong. Epictetus once wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have over ourselves." If you let opinions dictate your actions, you are no longer in charge of your life. You have handed over your decisions, your focus, your confidence to people who do not have to live with the consequences. Why would you let them decide what you can or cannot do? Think of a sculptor standing before a massive block of marble. He sees the masterpiece within, but the crowd around him only sees an unshaped rock. They tell him it's pointless, that he's wasting his time, that he should do something easier. But he does not argue. He does not try to make them see what he sees. He lifts his chisel, strikes the first cut, and begins. Most people will never understand your vision, because it was not given to them, it was given to you. You are the only one who can see it clearly. You are the only one who knows what you are capable of. If you stop every time someone doubts you, you will spend your entire life waiting for approval that will never come. There will always be critics. There will always be doubters. The world is full of people who gave up on their own dreams, and they will try to make sure you do the same. They will project their own fears onto you. They will tell you to be realistic, to take the safe path, to lower your expectations. But understand this: people who are doing less than you will always try to pull you down. People who are ahead of you never waste time criticizing. History does not remember those who sought approval. It remembers those who acted despite rejection, despite ridicule, despite doubt. The great thinkers, the inventors, the revolutionaries, they were all dismissed as foolish, reckless, unrealistic, until they weren't. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you must stop explaining yourself. Stop waiting for encouragement. Stop looking for permission. Just work. For the next 60 days, commit to your project without sharing it with anyone. No validation, no outside opinions. Just pure, focused execution. Let your results speak for you. This will not be easy. You may feel the urge to tell someone, to seek reassurance, but resist it. Keep moving forward in silence, and one day, when they finally see what you've built, they will ask how you did it. And by then, you won't need to explain, because your results will say everything. Step 5. Commit to 1% improvement every day. A lone cyclist rides through the fog, his breath visible in the cold morning air. His legs burn with exhaustion, but he keeps pedaling. His time today is only a fraction of a second faster than yesterday's, but that fraction is all that matters, because over time, these tiny improvements will transform him from an ordinary athlete into a champion. What if I told you that improving by just 1% every day would make you 38 times better in a year? That small, consistent progress has more power than any burst of motivation. Most people believe that success comes from massive breakthroughs, from sudden moments of genius. But the truth is, the most successful individuals, the greatest athletes, the most brilliant minds, rely on one thing: compounding effort. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to start as the best. You only need to show up every day and do your best. Not once, not for a week, but every single day, without fail. There's a reason why some athletes dominate their field for years, while others fade after a single victory. The British cycling team was once a joke. No major victories in over a century. Then came coach Dave Brailsford, who introduced an idea so simple, most overlooked it: the marginal gains strategy. Instead of chasing dramatic changes, he focused on small daily improvements in every area. He optimized the aerodynamics of the bikes, improved the riders' sleep habits, even changed the massage gels they used for recovery. These minor adjustments, insignificant on their own, began to stack up. Within 5 years, British cyclists won 5 Tour de France titles and dominated the Olympics. Success isn't built on sudden transformations. It's built on tiny, relentless refinements. The reason most people fail isn't because they lack talent. It's because they quit too soon. They expect instant results, and when they don't see progress, they give up. But if you truly commit to just 1% improvement each day, you will completely transform your abilities over time. Imagine a sculptor working on a block of marble. Each day, he makes the tiniest adjustments, smoothing out an edge, refining a detail, correcting a small imperfection. If you watched him work for a single day, you might think nothing had changed. But after a year, a masterpiece stands where a rough stone once was. Your life works the same way. You may not see results immediately. You may not feel like you're making progress. But if you stay consistent, if you refuse to stop, the change will come. And when it does, it will feel like magic to those who never understood the power of patience. So ask yourself, what is one thing you can do today? Just 1% better than yesterday. Can you write one more sentence? Lift one more rep? Study for one more minute? Because over time, these small victories will multiply into unstoppable momentum. For the next 7 days, commit to 1% daily improvement. Write it down, track it, stay accountable, and take on this challenge. Do something you're afraid you're not good enough at, but commit to giving it your best effort. You don't need to be great today. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Because success isn't about doing everything at once. It's about doing something every single day. Step 6. Speak less. Do more. Let your results speak for themselves. The desert was silent, except for the quiet hum of an engine. In a makeshift workshop hidden in the middle of nowhere, a man worked tirelessly on a machine that no one believed could fly. The Wright brothers were mocked by skeptics, dismissed by experts, and ignored by the world. But they did not argue. They did not waste time explaining their vision. They simply built. And on December 17, 1903, when their airplane lifted off the ground for the first time, they didn't need to convince anyone anymore. Their results spoke for them. Most people crave recognition before they have done the work. They announce their plans, hoping for approval. They chase praise instead of mastery. But the ones who truly succeed are different. They do not seek validation. They seek progress. They do not argue. They execute. And they understand one simple truth. Success does not need to be spoken about. It reveals itself in action. When Jeff Bezos first started Amazon, it was nothing more than an online bookstore run from a garage. No press releases, no grand promises, just long hours of silent, relentless effort. The world only started paying attention when Amazon quietly expanded, revolutionizing e-commerce without needing permission or applause. Bezos didn't need to explain his vision every step of the way. He let his empire do that for him. Stoic philosophy has taught this lesson for centuries. Epictetus once wrote, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." The truly great understand that talking about success means nothing, only proving it matters. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth, yet he did not waste time boasting of his greatness. He wrote in Meditations about the importance of humility, of focusing on action over appearance, of allowing results, not words, to define a person. History remembers those who built in silence. J.K. Rowling, rejected by 12 publishers, did not go online to complain about her struggles. She did not seek sympathy. She kept writing. Kobe Bryant did not tell the world how hard he was working at 4 a.m. in the gym. He just showed up every single morning and let his skill prove it. There is a dangerous trap that many people fall into: premature celebration. You start a project, make a little progress, and immediately share it. You seek validation before you've even finished. And then something strange happens. The energy that should have fueled you starts to fade. The excitement of recognition replaces the drive to keep going. And slowly, without realizing it, you lose momentum. Science calls this the social reality effect. Studies have shown that when people talk about their goals, their brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that rewards actual progress. In other words, just talking about success can trick your mind into feeling like you've already achieved it. This is why so many people start strong and then disappear. They get caught in the illusion of success before they've done the real work. Do not fall into this trap. When you start seeing results, when you feel progress happening, do not seek validation. Instead, hold on to that progress like a secret weapon. Let it drive you forward. Let it push you harder. Because the ones who move in silence are the ones who shock the world when they finally emerge. This is the difference between those who talk and those who achieve. Talkers want recognition. Achievers want mastery. Talkers need applause. Achievers need discipline. Talkers announce their intentions. Achievers let their work speak for itself. For the next 100 days, commit to this challenge. Do not talk about your progress. Do not seek recognition. Do not announce your goals. Just work, focus, improve. Let your results do the talking. At first, this will feel uncomfortable. You may feel the urge to share, but resist it. Instead, redirect that energy into action. And when you finally unveil what you've built, when the world sees the results, you won't need to say anything. Because true success never needs an introduction. Step 7. Practice gratitude and avoid blind ambition. The sun was setting as a man stood alone, gazing at the vast city below. Just months ago, he had been obsessed with the chase. More money, more recognition, more success. Yet tonight, something felt different. He wasn't thinking about the next big milestone. He wasn't comparing himself to those who had more. For the first time in years, he simply stood still, looked at everything he had built, and felt an unfamiliar emotion: gratitude. Most people spend their lives chasing instead of appreciating. They believe happiness is always one achievement away. They tell themselves, "I'll be happy when I make more money. I'll feel successful when people recognize me." But when they reach that goal, another takes its place. They become trapped in an endless loop, never satisfied, always reaching, never arriving. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology confirmed it. Seneca warned against the illusion of endless ambition, writing that wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The truly successful are not those who simply accumulate. They are those who learn to appreciate. Gratitude is not about settling. It is about recognizing progress while still moving forward. There is a reason why some of the wealthiest, most powerful people feel empty. They mistook ambition for purpose. They thought success was a finish line, only to realize that no matter how much they gained, it never felt like enough. The happiest, most fulfilled people do not measure their worth by what they lack, but by what they have already created, built, and experienced. Think of Keanu Reeves, a man with wealth beyond imagination, yet he chooses a simple life, riding the subway, living without excess, giving generously. He understands what many fail to grasp. True richness is not measured in numbers, it is measured in peace. That does not mean you should not strive for more. It means you must learn to balance ambition with appreciation. You must be able to pause, reflect, and acknowledge your growth without falling into the trap of thinking it's still not enough. Many people confuse drive with desperation. They believe that constantly chasing the next goal is what makes them strong. But true strength comes from the ability to be grateful without losing momentum. It comes from knowing when to push forward and when to acknowledge how far you've already come. There is a moment every successful person experiences. A moment where they realize that more will never be enough unless they learn to appreciate what they already have. You can reach the top of the mountain, but if you never stop to admire the view, was the climb even worth it? Gratitude is a discipline. It is not passive. It is active recognition of progress. It is the ability to say, I have more than I once did. I am stronger than I once was. I have grown. Without this mindset, you will forever feel behind. For the next 7 days, commit to a challenge. Write a gratitude journal. Each day, list 3 things you are grateful for: your progress, your lessons, your experiences. This is not about being complacent. It is about grounding yourself, keeping your ambition in check, and ensuring that you do not lose sight of the true measure of success. Because in the end, success is not about how much you accumulate. It is about how deeply you experience the journey. If you've made it this far, you're different. You're not here for quick motivation. You're here because something inside you is ready for change. Stoicism is not just a philosophy, it's a way of life. It teaches us to control what we can, to detach from external approval, and to master ourselves through action. This is the path of true strength. Now the question is, will you just watch this video, or will you live it? For the next year, commit to silent, relentless effort. Let your work, not your words, prove your worth. Share your journey in the comments. What will you build in silence? What challenge will you take on? If this video resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe, not just to support the channel, but to commit to your own growth. Every time you see a new video, let it be a reminder. Stay focused, stay disciplined, stay silent. And I'll leave you with one final thought. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. Are you ready to become that person?